All right, so Cam Bynum says teams can learn more off a loss than a victory. Well, let's go to an expert on that situation. Pete Bercich joins us now. Look at the setup you got there tonight. Poolside. I hope you didn't send the bill to Fox 9.
No, we didn't. Your money was no good here, is what they told me.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's a little nicer than Mendota Heights at this time of year.
That is lovely. We just played a bite. You heard it. Cam Bynum talking about the fact that teams actually can learn more off a loss than a victory. He said everybody was super focused in meetings this week. You were a player. You were a coach. You've been in those rooms numerous times. Is that a true statement from Mr. Bynum?
Yes, that is a 100% accurate statement from Cam Bynum. You do learn more about yourself, about how to play this game when you lose. And, as of late, they've had some victory Mondays and, just watched a handful of plays, I think, going into the week on Wednesday. This time they sat down and watched the entire thing. And, yeah, there's so much to be learned. And when you lose, it's a little more quiet. Everyone's paying a little more attention. The mistakes are bigger. I mean, I remember when I played, the big thing was make sure that you played well in games that you lost, because that's when everybody's going to be grumpy. That's when the coaches are going to want to make changes. You didn't make changes after a win. It was always after losses that changes were made. So, yeah, you wanted to make sure you played the best you could all the time, obviously, but the games that you lose it's a different atmosphere. And if you have the right atmosphere, as long as it's not here we go again. And as long as you're not okay with any aspect of losing a football game, you will get better. And I think that's the key difference right there. Some teams, it's just part of their DNA. They're like, we lost another one or whatever. That's not going to help you. If you have the will to win, then losing is definitely going to be a motivator.
Well, that's my next question, because that was the other theme throughout the locker room this week, is that, this was just one game. We've put together too big a body of work for one game to derail the season. Do you agree with that train of thought?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. You couldn't have put together a regular season game that had more implications than the one we just played against Detroit.
Right.
That was the game on the line, home field advantage. Winner stays home, gets a week off. Loser goes on the road. Although we're here, which I'll take. But there's so much on the line. So you can't overstate that, right? That was a huge regular season game, which will, I think, help going into this game, because the playoffs really started last week, and then you get a mulligan because of, obviously, it's only week 18. So it shouldn't destroy any momentum. The key thing is to figure out what it was against Detroit that did not go well, and how are we going to fix it, and then what are the odds that we're going to see something similar out of these Los Angeles Rams when you play them tomorrow. So that's the process that you go through this week.
All right, Daniel Jones. I know the Vikings are saying that this is just a move so they could get the draft pick for him as compensation should he leave via free agency. But when head coach Kevin O'Connell was asked about it, pushed about it, could he be the number 2 tomorrow night? He said, we are going to do whatever gives us the best chance to win. Now, that doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement for Nick Mullins.
Well, I mean, Nick Mullins has a unique talent, and unfortunately for him, his talent is the fact that you could kind of throw him in at any time, and on a third down, it doesn't matter, and still call the offense. And he's like that relief pitcher that comes in for one left-handed batter, and then you take him out. So yeah, we'll see what that means. Will it revamp our red zone offense? It'd be nice to have some more options down there, since we haven't been so successful, especially against Detroit. But I don't see much in the way of changes. Now is not the time to be changing things. Now is not the time to be abandoning the things that got you to where you are now. If you can fix what you're doing now, and that's why you have to go back and understand what went wrong. Was it merely not protecting the quarterback long enough so he could hit the open receiver. What little things can be adjusted to help that. And really one of the last resorts that you have as a coach is a personnel change or changing something else. So we'll see. Right. We'll see what happens. Who knows? That's kind of the beauty of the playoffs,
Right. Well, obviously he comes in, and if he takes Darnold out, it's not going well. So I'm not saying in a mop-up role. I'm saying what about designing a package of plays? Like you said, a red zone or a 4th and 1 or a series that's set up for him just to throw a wrinkle at the Rams. How could you put a percentage on something like that O'Connell would say, you know what, you guys didn't tell us about Puka last time. You just said, oh, hey, you know what, we're just going, he's just coming up, we're opening his window, and then huzzah, there he is all night. So do you think this is O'Connell getting back at his old boss saying, okay, you want to play that game? I'll give you something to think about. How about Daniel Jones?
I would say 10 to 15% chance.
Okay. All right, and it would
be
there's
a chance.
Yeah, so it would be a red zone type of package. You think? What does Daniel do that Sam?
Red zone, I mean,
what does Sam bring?
The only thing he can do, the only thing that Daniel Jones might be able to do better than Darnold right now is running the football on a 4th and 1.
Okay.
And Darnold hasn't been awful at it, but I mean, I'm just saying, his ability to maybe be a running back in a short yardage or goal line situation, that would really be it.
All right. Let's get to Sam now, because all the heat is on him now. Not only, I think, is this the most important game of the season, obviously you win or you go home, but this could be a career-defining game for Darnold. Just what you've seen with him, how do you think he is processing all this to prepare himself for tomorrow night mentally? Does he have it? Have you seen it this year when the chips have been against him? He's come through. Does he have the ability now when everybody expects him? Before it was just, Sam, this is great. House money. You're do what you want.
Yeah.
Now we're expecting you to deliver 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of our offense. Now, and the thing is we've seen this out of Sam all year, right? He struggled. He goes down. We go down to Jacksonville. He struggles. Our defense plays well enough. We're still able to win that football game. Then he responds nicely. I think especially in the last time we were on the road against Seattle, that the last drive of the game, that was definitely clutch. Normally for quarterbacks, you have, you go through that. From when you're drafted, you go through that progression of, okay, we can win games with them. Oh, okay, we can win a division with them, or we could get to the playoffs with them. Okay, we could, win a playoff game with them. This is all happening to Darnold in 1 year, right? It's literally happening week to week to week. But yeah, there was a lot riding on the game last week, and there's a hell of a lot more riding on the game this week. So, that's life. That's life as a quarterback, and I think he understands that his personal well-being, meaning his contract and the money and things like that, the better he plays and he focuses and is in the moment and just does everything that he possibly can, that the rest will take care of itself. So it's, again, you don't want to cast a wide net. You don't want to have a wide gaze. You don't want to be thinking down the road right now. You want to be thinking literally minute to minute at this stage of the season and your career. I'm going to definitely be watching for that. Be watching for the first throw that he makes that is, tight window, accurate, and if it happens early, I'll feel good and say, okay, the guy's back.
Right.
If it takes a while, but we're all going to be waiting with bated breath. I mean, that's something that we're in. The question is how much is the team going to be looking at that? Is he going to need to, drill a couple in there for the team to perk back up and say, okay, we got Sam back. They can't play that way. You have to expect your teammates all the time to operate where they're supposed to be. But we as fans can sit back and, just sit back with our arms crossed and just wait and see. So we're gonna wait and see, and it's gonna be a long 24 hours till we find out.
All right, Puka, as we mentioned, wasn't supposed to be a factor in Week 8 when these two collided. He showed up,
right.
and was a big factor. He's been a big factor in the Rams offense since that point. How do the Vikings slow this guy down? Is it getting to Stafford and the pressure on that side? Or do we have enough on the back end to figure out a way to stop him? Because if you don't stop him, then you got Cooper Kupp running around as well.
All right, so for Stafford, here's the thing. If he takes a 5 or 7 step drop, a deep drop, then you have to get somebody in his face. Because a lot of the time, he's only taking a 3-step drop or he's getting rid of that football right away. It's almost impossible to get to him. But when he does take a deep drop, and that's why 3rd down and 6 or 3rd and 7 or longer is very, very important. So you have to take care of your job on 1st and 2nd down. I'll get to that in a minute. But to get pressure on him whenever he takes a deep drop. Now, you have to be physical with this wide receiver group. That's the main thing about Puka Nacua. He's not really going to run by you. He's going to catch contested footballs. That's what he does very, very well. He's a very physical receiver that uses his body well, runs really well. They run that little bootleg fake throwback screen. They ran it twice against us. It worked with Puka Nacua the first time. They ran it again 2 weeks ago. I saw it on film. So it's something that they do, but they get him the ball on jet sweeps. They move and they shift and they motion to get you not looking at what you're supposed to be. And then, boom, they hand it off and give it to one of their best athletes. So the main thing is you have to tackle well and you have to be physical with this wide receiver group all the time. Now, Tutu Atwell, they got some speed, guys like that. Jordan Whittington. They have some other guys that are pure speed guys. But for the most part, with their major receivers, they're not going to really run by you. They can, but the speed is not what you're afraid of. You really, really have to be tough and physical and tackle. All
right, this hadn't been a question all year, but it's kind of surfaced since he came back off the injury. Will Reichert, concerned right now? He had the kick that went out of bounds. He missed a field goal in that Lions game. Are you concerned at all that the Vikings are concerned about what they have at the kicker position?
Number one, it's kind of like, I'm not. Part of it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Nothing you can do about it now.
Parker Romo, we could give him a call.
Well, I'm just saying the other thing is on the kickoff that he got out of bounds, it looked to me like he slipped. And then, again, the field goal that he missed, the referee respotted the football. He really didn't move it at all. He kind of picked it up and put it back where it was originally. And then the whole, the right and they moved the whole process up a yard. And so I don't know if that messed up timing or what. But my point is that the rhythm just wasn't there. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He played in Alabama, for God's sake. He's used to pressure situations, and he'll be kicking indoors. So, the wind and the weather will be ideal. So right at this moment, I'm not really worried about it. This is a game, though, that field goals will make a difference, and getting points on the end of drives is what matters most. So, he may be called on to make some 50-plus yarders tomorrow, and he needs to answer that call when his number is called.
All right, Pete, thank you so much for the time. You could start your laps now. Anytime, we'll leave you alone, and you can get ready out there. That's very strange to see water that's not frozen right now this time of year.
It's what do they call it? Soft water? Is that what they call it in the biz?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta clean the pool and pick up some towels and stuff so I can, so I got some work to do.
So you can stay in the room tonight, correct?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Pete. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jim. Good luck. See you.